I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government. The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable ETHBTC, a method whereby...
What's going on, everybody? My name is Baloo and welcome to the jungle. This is the channel where we take a very simple approach to technical analysis. We look at the price in the context of volume using the Wyckoff method. If that is something that interests you, then why don't you hit the subscribe button? I do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're following me on Twitch, or if you're viewing rather on Twitch, then leave me a follow on Twitch. So in today's video, market update, some coins are popping off. We're going to take a look at some of the leaders, and I kind of just want to talk a little bit about mindset and being able to control your emotion inside of the crypto space, because a lot of social media platforms, they prey upon your clicks and they clickbait you, and they tell you that you know, it's like this reaffirming prophecy, like it's this feedback loop of reaffirmation. A little bit of a tongue-tied there. And, you know, most people, when they enter this space, they may not fully understand what's going on with the technology. They may not understand the implications of that technology. So they want to hear that their investments that they have taken are the right ones. So you get a lot of YouTube shills. It's just the way it is. So I kind of want to just talk a little bit about mindset and the basic theories of supply and demand. It is one of the most fundamental things for you to understand, that most people who trade any market lose money. If you are a high frequency trader, if you were here of the mindset that you are going to get rich quick, make a few trades and change your life, this is the mindset of the new investor, and it's statistically proven in all markets, in all time frames, that this is the odds are significantly against you. So we'll kind of dive into that depressing topic, I guess. Let me just brighten things up a bit. Let me get a little bit more exposure. There we go. Okay, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the charts here. We're going to start out taking a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, we've been watching this trading range for weeks now, and you know, it's proving to be very valid. So what you need to realize if you're new to Wyckoff analysis is, yes, we start with the fundamentals of the schematics. We understand the interpretations of the events and the different phases, but as you progress, you need to interpret the charts yourself, because these are very different from patterns. These are not patterns. These are signals in the trading range that when coupled with your ability to interpret the volume, you're trying to determine what's in control. Is it supply or is it demand? And that's what we try to do with every single one of our trading ranges, is determine that transition, because at the end of a rally where we start trading sideways, there's an abundance of supply, and that supply needs to work itself out in the form of trading in the market for the sellers to become exhausted, and then the demand characteristics to begin to increase. So what's beautiful about this method is we can actually see this in the charts. It does take some practice, but that's exactly what I teach. So if you are new to the channel, go ahead and join the free Discord down below. I've got a ton of free PDFs talking about the Wyckoff method. And if you want to kind of take your education to the next level and get mentoring and share some of the trading setups that I do, then join VIP. So we do a 3 days a week. We do a virtual classroom where we talk about your charts and we talk about your investments and try and determine if the strategy is appropriate. Okay. So yeah, taking a look at Bitcoin. Buyer's climax, bit of a shakeout. I'm calling this a spring. I'm calling this a spring because we have a test here that resulted in a sign of strength, and I was looking for an area of support to hold. So this area, when it first came down, we did kind of determine that this would be a likely area of support, just given the amount of demand entering at this level of the ascending channel that we've been watching here. So we're kind of ping-ponging inside of this ascending channel, which is a great trading environment to be in. And, you know, we got down here, most of the market, most of the crypto YouTubers were talking about lower levels in excess of $45,000. Me and my group, our target was 50 to 52, and 50 to 52 seems to be what hit and what held so far. So we're now breaking above the range. We want to see a commitment here. So we want to see a test. A commitment always follows a test. We want to see a test down on this level, proving that these levels of about $56,000 have been overtaken. And I think that's going to be a push. Now, if we can get a push beyond that point, I think it's you know, there's enough confirmation here that if we get a new high on here, it's going to be, you know, wanting to hit our target range of around $75,000. So that's kind of what we're looking in the short to medium term. But another test is not off the table either. So if we are to come down and test again, which would just come in the form of a higher low, optimistically speaking, you know, if we come down and test here, we would get our higher low and then our confirmation to the upside. Both cases are bullish. I am not taking a bearish position on Bitcoin at this point in time because I just think that the structure is not bearish. We're seeing a lot of positive sentiment in the space. Bullish news story after bullish news story, large company after large company adopting cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. So there's a lot of bullish sentiment in the space, coupled with the fact that this just doesn't feel like a top, guys. You know, I've been through a few cycles now, and we're not at a top. So don't worry. Okay, so let's take a look at Ethereum real quick. Ethereum, kind of a little bit of a recovery move right here. We are getting above the area of most interest in terms of where we need to hold as support. So we're going to kind of keep this one really simple. I'm not diving into the strength or anything yet because I think that Ethereum is kind of just a wait and see right now. It's very choppy. If you're trading Ethereum, good luck. Don't do short-term trades on Ethereum right now would be my recommendation. Not that I'm licensed to give advice. But yeah, it's very choppy right now, and it doesn't have a clear direction as far as strength. So we made it above the area of, you know, we were in the value zone. We made it above the area of support that I wanted to see clear. Now we just need to test that level. So, you know, it's very likely that we continue to test this level right here, something like that. Yeah. Oh, I can't tell you about my tattoo, man. It's a top secret. Top secret. Okay. Yeah, so that's Ethereum. Now, before we dive into Cardano, Theta, and VChain, I want to talk about supply and demand and the fundamentals of supply and demand and how these markets aren't necessarily manipulated, but they can be seen as manipulated. There are factors in these markets that, you know, you could argue that manipulation is taking place, but often we throw that word around too much. And what is important to note is just that, you know, when coins pump, they've pumped because of an accumulation. They pump because of a supply shock. When there is limited supply and higher demand, you're forced to compete on price. And the reason assets go up in price is because somebody paid more for it. That's it. You know, it's supply and demand. If there's no supply, I have to pay more to be able to get the Ethereum. I have to outbid you. And it's just, that's how these prices go up. It's not just because I'm buying, it's because I'm buying at a higher price. That's what the market is trying to determine. So if we zoom out here, let's take a look at Theta. So Theta is a good example. A lot of people really hyped on Theta right now. And, you know, Theta has been a good project, but it was a good project down at 50 cents when we were giving the call outs in my group to buy Theta. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed in as far as the fundamentals of Theta. The only thing that's changed is the sentiment. So here's what you need to understand. Let me just go to a larger time frame. Let's go to the 3-day chart. Actually, that's too much. Let's go to the daily, and let's just drag this out, okay? This area right here is the accumulation zone. Notice how we're not going down in value. There are institutional players, there are whales, there are savvy individuals, there are big money players that accumulate. And what that means is they spent They spent 2 years buying Theta. They spent 2 years accumulating the asset, not allowing it to fall below certain prices. They allowed other market participants to try and trade it, lose interest, and get discounts. And they accumulated the asset for multiple years. Now, when a large institutional interest or big money is accumulating the asset, what ends up happening is they get a large market share. So during those 2 years, if this is all the available supply of Theta, after 2 years, let's say they accumulate 90%. I'm just talking figures here, but let's say they were able to accumulate 90% of the asset. The asset, 90% of Theta is held in diamond hands, as the trend seems to be. So those are the hardest hands in the entire ecosystem, is the large institutional players, the whales. Those are the strongest hands. You are the weak hands. It's just the way it is, because it's time in market. You know, these people have a lot of money and they accumulate a large market share. So what ends up happening is the 10%, as soon as the sentiment changes, there's only a small fraction of the pie available for traders to fight over. So you get these huge parabolic moves. This is the same in every single market. This is not unique. We see this very often. You want to be accumulating the asset during accumulations. You want to be identifying the strength as it's leaving an accumulation range, so that you don't have to be one of the people who fight over the small supply and have to pay exorbitant amounts of money to be able to get exposure into the asset. So the question is, hey, do I buy Theta right now? Is Theta going to make me rich? Well, I don't think the bull market is over, but I do think that this move is over. I think that, we're definitely going to be in an area of reaccumulation at this point. We've gone straight up, guys. Anytime a coin goes straight up, it has to consolidate sideways for a bit. And that's the bullish case, is just we consolidate sideways. It's probably going to do so for over a month. So if you're stacking your bags right now thinking that Theta is going to melt your face off next week, it's statistically really unlikely for that to happen. I think that we have a lot of time left in this one. If we just drop down to the 4-hour, we can see we have a bit of a range developing. So how do you trade it if you are bullish on this? We can go ahead and take a look here. Let's just slap a range on there. We have an upper end of the range, we have a lower end of the range. So if you are to take a bullish position, you would wait for it to drop down to these levels right here. And if you were wanting to do a breakout trade, which you need to be very careful this early in the stage, I would wait for a lot more of the supply to become exhausted at this point. But if we took a move up and tested and continued to higher levels, you could take a breakout trade there. But realize that we are far along. We are far along in markup. So, every time you take a position in the middle of a macro rally, you're assuming a huge amount of risk. You may not care, but I'm just telling you how these markets work, how this psychology works, and how this game is played, because it is a game. So if you are interested in kind of learning a little bit more about identifying these accumulation patterns, identifying these bottoming patterns, but not just identify a bottom, but be able to actually capitalize on that, on catching that bottom, then you know where to go. Links below. Okay, so let's catch up with a few of the comments here, so I don't get too far behind here. Okay, Callie Gem says, so no Lambo. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, there's reality and then there's expectation. When things are mooning, when things are going really, really fast, as though, similar to what we've seen in Theta, who's going to buy it? Everybody in the market's talking about Theta. Who's left to buy? If the entire market is just buzzing about Theta, who's going to buy? No one. So we need the sellers to leave, and we need demand to take back over, and that can take many months. So if you're in Theta, if you got a great trade in Theta, then congratulations. Don't be afraid to harvest profits and capitalize and realize those into some sort of pairing, whether it be fiat or something stronger like Bitcoin. But yeah, I do feel as though we're going to continue to be range bound for the medium term on Theta. Okay, have you been able to read through the notes that I sent to you? So embrace communism. No, I have not. Market maker, it's a lot of nuance. It's a very big topic that I just kind of brushed over. Didn't really get too much into the nitty gritty. I'm kind of, you know, I got a lot of things on my plate right now, but I will take a look. I will take a closer look. What up, Gravy Train? Okay, we can take a look at Aave later. Okay, so jumping in a little late to the video, but those YouTube videos yesterday make me think ETH is going to blow simply because it'll create the final shakeout the big boys have been waiting for. The big boys have been wanting, and once they come in strong enough, who bailed will come back with FOMO. Just my opinion, but seems like perfect play on human emotion. You know, ETH is just, it's still accumulating. We're kind of waiting to see some of the factors that EIP 1559 is going to do with the tokenomics. Is it going to be bullish? What are the miners going to do? I think that's on the mind of a lot of people, or how is the behavior of the miners leaving the network going to react to Ethereum? So, you know, maybe they all go and mine Ethereum Classic. YouTube notification bell is a lie. It is sometimes, especially if you don't like the video. So, you know, YouTube is, it's like you can't even choose what works with YouTube. I tell you to hit the notification bell, and if YouTube decides, hey, well, you don't actually like it, so forget it. It's just, I don't know, YouTube's weird, man. But if you want more consistency, do hit the like button. Okay, greetings from Germany. Auf Wiedersehen. Or wait, no, that's bye. Guten Tag. Dieselhound, actually a VChain whale. Awesome. Let's go ahead and take a look at VChain. So VChain is in a much better position, I think, when compared to Theta. So Theta's accumulation is gone, man. It's gone. It's well gone. You want to be kind of looking for other assets that haven't quite pumped yet. But I mean, I think the fundamentals on Theta are great. It's just, it's not a time to buy it right now. It's overvalued. So we kind of we left this accumulation zone, and then we consolidated once, had kind of a dumpy one. So you could call that one, and maybe two before it went crazy. Whereas VChain has just left the box. So VChain is interesting. A lot of people really bullish on VChain. And I think that is just fine. You know, as the price kind of, there's a supply shock here. So we have accumulated for a very long time. The hype has not gone full bore with VChain. So I think that there's definitely a bullish case to be made, but you need to realize too that the time it takes for these bullish setups to actually play out when you're just leaving an accumulation is longer than what you're experiencing in the market. And that's where a lot of new investors go wrong. That's where a lot of new investors kind of end up over trading, and that results in death by 1,000 cuts. You know, if you keep cutting one position to go and chase another coin, and you're doing this to try and get that, you know, it's death by 1,000 cuts. You're taking losses over here to jump into something else that mooned, and then it drops, and then, you know, you just got to stop trading so much. With VChain, I think that there's still quite a bit of time before we start to really see the you know, moves that would emulate that of what we've been seeing in Theta. But that's a good thing. You know, you have plenty of time to accumulate. You have plenty of time to add to your positions on VChain. We're showing strength. We're making higher highs. We're making higher lows. Anytime that there is a large shakeout in the market would be a fantastic dip buy on this asset. You can see kind of a bit of a trend developing here. I'll just keep it really simple. Let's go to the daily. But if I just identify the highs and lows, you know, and we got a high, we got a low, we got a high, we got a low, we got a high. So where's our low? Wherever our next low is would be a good place to scoop some up. And we're going to continue this trend for a while. And it's not going to be super exciting. You're going to be comparing your investment to others. And you're going to say, well, why isn't VChain pumping like this coin or that coin? It's because they're further along in their markup phase. As the markup continues to heat up, it goes parabolic. That's not your invitation to jump into something that's going to crash, where the supply is definitely outweighing the demand. If you got in ahead of it, well, now you're just trying to time where to exit, and we can help you with that too. But you know, trying to make an entry on these things that are going straight up, trying to ape in, it should be a very quick play. It should be a very quick play. It's not something that you want to hold long term, and you don't have the ability to really monitor and capitalize on the most amount of gains because you're always worried about it dropping below your entry point. So VChain's looking really good. I think that it needs a dip, and I think that it's going to take a while, and that's a good thing. So let's move on with the last one that I want to take a look at. Actually, let's catch up with the chat again. I don't trust any of those channels. They're identical thumbnails. All of them pop up during bull markets. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's a catch-22, guys, honestly. Like, I'm a YouTube creator, so I see a lot of the back end, and I understand that when I always have a choice with the content that I provide. And when I say realistic analysis, or if I do like how to break down a chart technically, or how to, you know, interpret point and figure charts, they get no views, okay? Whereas if I say Theta is going to 100x by this date, this price, it gets thousands of views, thousands and thousands of views. So, you know, the temptation for the creators to lean into that is extremely strong. But I think that it's short-lived, and I think that it's not the path that I want to go down. I'm okay with slower growth. I know that I'm a small channel, and I know that, you know, my strategy for the content is going to hinder my performance short term, but I'm not in it for the short term. I'm in it for the long term. I want to teach everybody, all of my students, I want to teach them how to build wealth over time. Don't get me wrong, crypto is crazy and crypto can happen to you, but don't plan for crypto to happen to you. Just be involved with the ecosystem, be involved in the asset, preserve your capital, and understand that it's a cyclical nature, and it's not about timing the market, it's about time in market. Okay. Okay, let's I'll catch up with the chat and we'll go through. I'm getting a lot of requests, so let me get through the content, the meat and potatoes of this video, and let's talk about Cardano. After Cardano is done, then we'll jump into the community charts aspect of the show, but let's keep the time-stamped material on the half hour side of this show here. So Cardano, I erased my drawings on Cardano because I'm starting to really want to entertain the idea of possible distribution. Now I want to kind of emphasize something very, very important when you're trying to identify, or when you're beginning to lean bearish on an asset that's in an uptrend. You have to trade with the bias. You have to trade with the bias. So currently, Cardano is bullish. Cardano has a current bullish sentiment. Cardano has a bullish bias. However, there are a couple things that are concerning to me. First, just keeping it really simple, we're rounding over. The rallies are getting weaker. So the rallies are getting weaker. The reactions are getting stronger. Those are bearish things to take into consideration. Also, this volume signature right here is on the supply side. We saw an upthrust and an immediate rejection with quite a substantial amount of supply enter. And then we got another rally off of that with a ton of supply coming in. the demand overall is dying off. Okay, so these are supply. They're just anomalies. They're sticking out from the norm, and they came in the form of a rejection. So we can determine that that's supply entering the market. The overall volume is diminishing, which includes demand. We want to see an increase in demand. It's okay if we get a few anomalies. We want to see that increase in demand, and we have not gotten that yet. So that's two kind of things against Cardano right now. Another thing that I want to take into consideration is just this possible trading range right here. Like just a lot of the candles are very distributional. You know, we got a nice rejection, lots of demand. Okay, don't get me wrong, lots of demand coming in to protect the levels, but just a lot of chop up and down. Up thrust, choppy, lots of distributional characteristics to this, rejection back in. That was too early anyways. We wouldn't have thought that that was a bearish case. Then we broke through here, a lot of demand. Don't get me wrong, a lot of demand bringing it up here, and then supply as well. So they kind of canceled each other out. And now we're in the underside of the channel. So we don't want to front run bearish ideas in an uptrend. Okay, let me repeat that. Don't try and front run a bearish idea in an uptrend. You want to always maintain a bullish bias until the trend has been broken. So this is just food for thought. This is not me calling bear. This is just me showing you that there's characteristics to this structure that I do not like. What we need to confirm bearish is a break of the range, okay? And if we get a lower low than this area right here, then we need to really consider how we want to proceed with this. I'm not saying that it's over by any means. A worst case scenario is we just move down and we start a reaccumulation after decline. I just want to, kind of help prepare you guys for that potential, because there's a lot of hype in Cardano. It's being pushed a ton. BitBoy has been just pumping Cardano, guys. He's got over 500,000 subs. Like, he's got a ton of influence inside of this space. So when the YouTubers are shilling projects, they often become overvalued, and the market needs to bring it back down to its true value so that we can build a base and increase increase support and consensus with the market so that we can see higher levels. So that is the bearish. Real quick, I've already said it, but I'm going to just reiterate it. High, low, higher low, higher high, higher low, equal high, higher low. We are at a decision point. We need a higher high to continue the trend higher, invalidating all of the bearish sentiment that I just discussed, or we actually break down and make a lower low, showing us the beginning stages of a trend reversal. So it's definitely do or die time for Cardano. We're going to have to monitor the situation, and anybody who's in my VIP, I will be keeping you up to date as this chart develops. The live streams as well. If you like these live streams, 3 hours out of the week, 24/7 is well, not 24/7, but you get a lot more exposure to my thoughts and my processes and my ability to kind of break this market down if you are inside of the server. So join the Discord down below. Okay, so that's Cardano. That's pretty much it for the content that I wanted to provide for the YouTube video to give the timestamp. So I'm now going to open it up to the community here, and we can take a look at some of the other charts that have been mentioned here. So Jenstar, she is in my VIP, and she is asking, thinking about adding a small position in MATIC. Yes, let's take a look at MATIC. Now, MATIC has had a run. I think that MATIC, or Polygon, I guess it is now, it's not too far gone, but understand your strategy too. I think that you can jump in on the middle of these things because the hype is there. So if you time it right, you will kind of have less time to wait for an upside move. But I think MATIC, if you are truly bullish on it, just realize that any position you keep throughout the bear market is going to be a position that you will add to at the bottom of the bear market. I don't recommend keeping a lot of altcoins throughout the bear market, because the reality of the situation is Bitcoin whales take profits into Bitcoin. So all money that is trying to escape, it either escapes in the form of fiat or it escapes in the form of Bitcoin. So there's no avoiding that. Bit of a down sloping range here. We can keep it really simple and just draw a so we broke through that. Little bit of volume on the demand side. I want to see a test, and I want to see a continuation of this trend. So we broke out here. I want to see a break above this area right here. So if we can test down, test down this level. Oops, nope. So come out for a test and then break above that and then test. Now we're kind of changing the trend, but also take into consideration the possibility that we have a much longer term trading range that develops as well. So we might ping pong in here for a while before getting that commitment to the upside. So yeah, it's not a position to take immediately, in my opinion, unless we can get that test and start to make some higher highs, start breaking out some of those higher highs. So you could take a position, a small probe position, and that keeps your attention. It keeps you constantly looking at the charts, and then scale into the upside as those bullish confirmations come in. Do we not make a trading group and get in low like Stellar Lumens and Litecoin? This is the Wyckoff method, man. That's all we do, is we try to determine the bottoming patterns, and we determine the strength of the asset, and we determine if the supply is locked up in strong hands. And when the supply is locked up and we're seeing characteristics of demand re-enter, we enter markup phase. So I was calling Theta at 39 cents for the lowest of the LPS at which I posted that chart, and yeah, it's a very powerful method. I highly recommend that you at least learn some of the basics of the Wyckoff method. Ontology. What do I think about ontology? Let's go take a look at ontology. I think ontology is a coin that has a lot of hype. I'm more interested in Neo, and I'm more interested in those types of coins. Oh, this is BTC. Just because Neo has there's still a lot of upside, I think, in Neo, but ontology is connected to them. They're a part of the Neo project, and ontology is making higher highs and making higher lows. We just broke an area of resistance here. A technique that I often do when trying to narrow in on a project is I'll do comparative analysis. And comparative analysis is when you take an index, and you can either create the index in TradingView, or you can use some other index like what's offered in FTX. So FTX has a few indexes that are great. We love to trade with those indexes in my group. And one of them is the Dragon Perpetual Futures Contracts. And that is an index of a lot of the Chinese projects. And what you do when you're in a Chinese project, like you're trying to narrow in on ontology, you want to compare it to its index. So let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Let's go to a split view, and let me just go here and go to Dragon Perp. And you want to match the time frame. What's the time frame here? 8 hour. So let's go to the 8 hour on the Dragon Perp. And you want to look at the index and look at the performance. So I'm seeing more strength in the Dragon Index Perpetual Futures contracts than I'm seeing inside of ontology alone. So what does that mean? Well, this is an index. This is a collection of many assets. So contained within this index is a stronger performer than ontology. So it's up to you to try and determine which one of them is the leader. But this is what you want to do. Compare against the index to determine that it's not lagging in performance. And when I compare ontology to the Dragon Index, it's lagging in performance, meaning that there's a better option. Can you not make money on ontology? No, it's got a bullish setup. You can make money on ontology, but there might be better opportunities contained within this index. Food for thought. Very powerful strategy. It's not just about reading a white paper and picking a coin. There's a lot to this. Okay. Share your thoughts on Stellar. So, shame on me for just dismissing Stellar Lumens. I think that, you know, there's a lot of drama with XRP, and I just kind of put them in the same basket. I put them in the same boat. I just was like, well, Stellar is just XRP. But it's not, and we can see that in the chart. We can see that there's a different adoption occurring inside of Stellar when we look at the chart here. I still don't like it personally, but that's just me, and it's not up to me to decide. It's up to the market to decide. But when I look at the chart, there's nothing bad about the chart. I think that things look really good on Stellar, and we're headed in the right direction. We're making higher highs and we're making higher lows. And what I found interesting is for those who have the CRO card, one of the main currencies inside of topping up and using your CRO crypto debit card is Stellar. Stellar gives you the lowest fees, so there's a demand aspect to it. There's a fundamental demand characteristic to this asset, and Stellar is not in court like Ripple is. So, you know, we're seeing nice price structure here. Beautiful SR flips. Just because I don't personally take a position in something doesn't mean that I don't like it. It just means that, you know, I don't have a position in it. I can't take a position in everything. I don't like to diversify too much. I usually manage about 5 trades and about 5 investments in a bull market. So 10 assets total for my portfolio. And we're seeing it's beautiful price structure. There's nothing bad about this. The only thing is this consolidation is not complete yet. We have not finished this trading range yet, and we're seeing that in the volume. We need to see demand come back in. When we can get demand coming back in and showing that you know, we're gonna have to test some of the supply levels. So we'll take a few rallies. And if the supply is high, we're going to continue to be range bound for a while. But if we break up to an upper band, something like this, you know, if we break up to a level around here and the supply is exhausted and we're seeing an increase in demand, then I think that we have a bullish case for a continuation. But for the time being, for right now, there's not much. There's, you know, it's just going to continue to be range bound, if not with a downward bias currently. But yeah, hopefully what ends up happening is we don't need to head down to the lower levels of this previous support range. But again, I don't call things bearish too soon. And there's no reason to be calling for those levels until we get a breakdown below the level of support that we're currently on. Looks fine. I don't know. I don't mind it. Okay, my opinion on Monero. I think that Monero is the king of privacy coins, and I think that it is the most widely used privacy coin. I think it has the highest adoption curve out of all the privacy coins, and when you take a look at the privacy index, it's the top performer amongst all privacy coins. That's all you need to know. The market considers it a valuable asset. Okay, so you heard me in the last few videos say ETH wasn't doing much, but when you look at ETH and BTC, they look exactly the same. I don't think that they look exactly the same, actually. I think that there's a more bullish case on Bitcoin than there is Ethereum. They have similar structure. You are absolutely correct, but I do not think that they are the same. No, I do not. First of all, on this extension of ETH, we got a lower high. So on this extension of Bitcoin, we got a higher high. So higher highs are better. You know, we're making advances on this asset. Ethereum or Bitcoin has a better case to show bullishness because the high made a higher high. Furthermore, Bitcoin's low was less of a reaction. So when we go from the high to the low here, obviously it's probably not, this is usually what I do on the indexes, but we had an 18% retracement. And then on Ethereum, from a lower level, we got a 20% retracement. So we made less gain and we made more of a reaction. So, you know, they're similar in structure. I understand where you're coming from. I understand your sentiment. But if there is to be a breakout, the breakout is going to occur on Bitcoin first. It's not going to be Ethereum leading the pack. Ethereum is going to be dragged up by a lot of other assets appreciating in value. It's not going to be a leader based on what I'm seeing in the charts right here. So very good question. Thank you for that. Short-term pain, long-term gain. Top 3 altcoins that will make you a millionaire. Well, I can tell you the top 3 coins that'll make you a millionaire. Bitcoin and Ethereum. Tether. You need something to trade into that's stable. You know, it's about time in market. You can try and time the market. You can try and be a day trader. Listen, my dad is a day trader. Like, that's what he does for a living. And he's very good at it. He's a stock trader. He's an options trader. And he is very good at it. He can... he extracts a lot of value out of the equities market. He's recently started to dabble in cryptocurrency, and he's messaging me on Telegram and stuff and being like, how the F do you trade this market? And I tell him it's about the long swings here. You got to take a bullish position. You got to identify when demand is in control, and you got to hold long, especially in a bull market, knowing where you are in the cycles. You know, range bound, I think if we were range bound, he would do very well. But he's getting chopped up right now, and he's a pro. Okay, BitBoy is the absolute worst. He's doing what he has to do to be successful, and if that comes at a cost of manipulating his audience, that's the choice that he's made. I will sacrifice growth of my channel to be truly trying to help you guys. Okay, on Theta, I heard some info and I'm not sure how to confirm, but because there is a delay in the mainnet launch, I was told that there was a large amount of coins being unstaked, which is signs of a sell-off to come. Wondering how to find more info about this. Well, I'm sure it's available somewhere. You know, I'm not savvy on what's going on with Theta staking or anything of those, you know, more nuanced and specific things. But if there's going to be increased supply entering the market where the demand is unable to appreciate the asset, supply is going to outweigh demand. And when supply outweighs demand, the price goes down. When demand outweighs supply, the price goes up. Oh, we got a lot of BitBoy haters in here. I didn't mean to start a whole thing, guys. I should stream from the pool. I should actually. I actually got decent service up there. I'm going to, yeah, let's give that a shot. We'll do that on a Saturday one, a non-scheduled one. I'll stream from the pool and talk about charts. Okay. Don't you agree we should focus on Cardano BTC chart or Stellar BTC chart, because those is where it is at? No. So awesome sentiment. Barizits Suriko. It's fantastic the way that you're thinking, because, you know, a lot of what I try to do is I try to be relatable to a lot of the newer investors in this space and try to, you know, slowly allow them to understand the different nuances to trading cryptocurrency. But you're right, because the goal, at least for the termination of this cycle, is to retreat a lot of your investments into Bitcoin. You may be wanting to hold these projects long term, but if you take a look at previous cycles, we have no data that is going to conclude that those coins that you're holding are not going to lose 90% of their value, 90+% of their value at the market cycle low. So being able to capitalize on the use of stable coins and being able to hedge your positions and maintain a appropriate exposure to Bitcoin is really, really important. And the easiest way for you to measure your long-term growth is by using a Bitcoin chart. So if we take a look at Cardano BTC, actually let's go Cardano Ethereum, because that's a very interesting chart that really paints a very powerful picture. Oops, ETHBTC. Okay. Let me just go to a higher time frame here. Let's go to the 3-day chart. So this is a fantastic bottoming pattern, by the way, that we're seeing in Ethereum when compared to Bitcoin. And this is giving me a lot of confidence in the future of this one. But let me just clean it up a little bit here. So what does this mean? So where we are right here, we're sitting on top of an LPS. Big deal. Who cares? Like whatever. What this is saying is that if you purchased Bitcoin, or sorry, if you were at a decision point back in 2018, October 13th, 2018, you were forming your portfolio and you decided to put 50% in Ethereum and 50% in Bitcoin, today you would have the exact same amount of money that you would if you just went 100% Bitcoin. And that's a pretty profound thing that is very new, because, you know, if you're coming from the commodities markets, if you're coming from the equities markets, if you're coming from any other market, the market alpha is USD. So we're always looking at the USD projects. But when you're inside of cryptocurrency, the safest play, the safest, most consistent play that you can do is to buy Bitcoin and hold it. That's the safest, most consistent, profitable setup. Profitable coin that you can invest in is Bitcoin inside of this ecosystem. So anytime you stray away from that, you need to be sure that your investment is going to outperform Bitcoin, because if not, you may as well hold the safest coin that doesn't have scams, that doesn't have a team that can give itself bad PR, that doesn't do this, that doesn't do that. This is the tractor that just keeps on pulling. And it's a very powerful coin that is revolutionizing the way we do the world. And it shouldn't be ignored because you think you can't make money on it. You have to make sure that any trade that you are taking is going to outperform Bitcoin, because otherwise, what's the point? Just hold Bitcoin. So you're right. When we look at these coins, you can find setups on USD, because I think most of the market is looking at USD, and you can find those short-term trading setups on the USD charts. But if you're holding long-term, you need to know that you're outperforming Bitcoin. Here's a good example, and I hope this doesn't hurt anyone with what I'm about to say, but Litecoin, okay? If you're investing in altcoin, you picked the wrong. If you're investing in Litecoin, you picked the wrong coin. You should have held Bitcoin, because we're still in a downtrend on this asset. I'm not saying that it's, you know, it's over or anything, but if you've been investing in Litecoin for a very long duration of time, you have picked the wrong coin, and you would have known this if you were referencing the Bitcoin charts. So thank you for that question. Really good insight. I can tell that you've been in this market a while. It's absolutely true. You want to reference both charts. You can find setups on USD. You can Wyckoff a little bit more consistently on USD. But if you're looking at the macro swings and you're looking at the performance of your investments when compared to just sitting pretty and holding Bitcoin, it's a fantastic chart to reference. And as we progress in this bull market, the Bitcoin pair is going to become more and more relevant, because when people start taking profits from their altcoins, they're going to stop taking profits into Tether, and they're going to start taking profits into Bitcoin. So pay attention to these charts. They're very powerful. Have you already talked about YouTubers? Yes, I talk about how the algorithm kind of incentivizes this feedback loop where, you know, if I invest, say I'm new and I invest in Theta, I want confirmation that that investment is a good investment. So I'm just going to look for the videos that say, hey, 100x or 10x on my Theta. And those videos are being created by the content creators, knowing that the information it doesn't even matter if it's true or not. They just do it. Yeah, so Harmony, I'll just real quickly, I'll just talk about Harmony. It's been in a huge price appreciation. It's not in a territory where you would take profits, or sorry, it's not in a territory where you would take a position. It is in a territory where you would take profits. So it keeps going up. You know, you have to scale out. You have to scale out on this kind of stuff. It's seen huge price appreciation. So know that stuff doesn't go up forever. And you know, we're kind of seeing a little bit of distribution here. Maybe go down to a smaller time frame. Short term for sure, but the rallies are shortening. Okay, so watch for this extension. We're kind of seeing that this is similar to Cardano. So we could see a short-term pullback, maybe down to you know, a moving average of significance or something, maybe even down to this level right here. Prior to the breakout, we kind of were battling with this level right here. So expect Harmony to come down right around, I don't know, $0.015, somewhere around there. It's up at around 2 pennies, or sorry, 20 pennies, 20 cents right now. So maybe around 12 cents, 13 cents, 14 cents, somewhere around there if we do confirm bearish. But currently we're in an uptrend. Until the uptrend fails, there's no reason to panic. So let me just, you know, high, low, higher, low, higher high. Do we make a higher low and a higher high? We don't know. The trend is your friend until it ends. Until this trend fails, we have to continue with the bullish bias that this will remain bullish. Real quick. Okay, FTM. And then Sol, Phantom. So another one just went up huge. Reaccumulation. Where do we think we are? So honestly, just like ignore this. Don't even look at it. Look at the volume here. Oops. We can conclude that the volume has exhausted. We can conclude that the selling has been exhausted and that we have absorbed a lot of supply. What we need now is we need a little bump in volume, and we need to see the demand increase on the rallies and retract on the reactions. If we can get that increase in demand and test on low volume consistently, then we can start and pay attention to what's going on inside of this trading range. But right now, it looks like it's a possible spring coming in to land here, and then we'll get our sign of strength. Make an entry on the backup LPS, something like that. But it's nothing to FOMO into right now. Okay, so the virtual classroom is starting very shortly. What did I say I was going to look at? Virtual classroom starting in 5 minutes. So for those who are in VIP, we get to do some one-on-one work and talk about your charts and your strategies. Links down in the description if you want to join VIP. So let's just really quickly take a look at Sol. Not going to get to S and X. Running out of time. Not going to get to any. This is the last one, guys. This is the last one. Not going to get to any more. Unfortunately, sorry. Okay, so nice sign of strength here. Nice sign of strength. We're showing that strength is in control here. Where did we break the creek line? Well, if we take a look here, we kind of broke the creek line here, and we're going to break it down here. So look for an entry down here, or worst case scenario, even down here. But we need to print a higher low. And if we can get the higher low, we're going to be off to races on this one. I think this is looking really good. We could also just take off from here. You know, a lot of bullish sentiment in Solana right now, so we don't necessarily have to wait for this entire flag to form. You know, we could break out before that. We could just be in the flag right now. We could just be in the flag right now and take off. Typically that does not happen, but we are in an area of support currently. If we take a look at the buyer's climax, we're currently on support. But here's the thing: when you have a weak rally on the breakout, like we just kind of plopped out of the top, it doesn't have a lot of strength. Oftentimes it results in an up thrust, and we go back inside the range. So just wait and see on this one. So that's the quick and dirty on Solana. Few more comments. OMG for the win. Great insight. Love it. Yeah, guys, hit the like button if you want to see more of my content. Subscribe, although I don't even know if that works. Somebody was saying they subscribed and hit the bell and they still didn't get notified. So, hey, that's YouTube. Sold half my Litecoin because it's been doing nothing lately. Now considering same moving with Link. Link is definitely in a markup phase, especially when compared to Litecoin. But I think that you want to find, if you find an area of support, just buy any pullback. If you're wanting to campaign into it for a long term, wait for the red days. Wait for the red days, even if they come at higher levels. Like, have a few coins that are not going parabolic, and wait for those red days to come in. Late to the stream, but yeah, I do love Monero. I've been mining it for a year now. I tip people using it largely. Monero's not going anywhere, in my opinion. I think that it's a fantastic project. You know, it's really doing a lot. BitBoy showed his portfolio. Yeah, I saw that. A lot of people giving him a lot of props on that. 50% of the coins are not there. It's just, you know, how it works with the YouTubers. It's like, what is pumping? What just did 200% today? Oh, okay. Now I need to make a clickbait thumbnail, and then I'll think about the video later. I try to help the new investor because I know what it was like, guys. Like, I've been on the other side. I've been in your position. If you're new to this space, I'm not talking to everybody. I know that there's a lot of talented people that watch this stream, but if you are new to crypto, YouTube is such a dangerous place to be getting information because it's just this feedback loop of positive sentiment, and it's not true. I know I built my entire portfolio off of YouTube shills 2 cycles ago, and it doesn't work. You have to kind of take a step back and learn how to trade this market and understand the market psychology, because it's all about psychology. And it's not even just this market. This strategy that I teach, the Wyckoff method, it works in every market. Okay, why have you hid the button for sending bits? Because I de-affiliated with Twitch. So, you know, a lot of people ended up being a sub. I'm pretty sure your subs have been canceled. And that's because I wanted to be able to stream to YouTube and Twitch at the same time, and becoming a Twitch affiliate disallowed me from being able to do that. So no bits, no subs, none of that fun stuff. But you know, I'm not in it for the bits and subs. I'm in it to reach an audience, and I have more of a reach in YouTube. Would you say that we are in the beginning, middle, or end of alt season? I think that alt season hasn't even freaking begun. So the beginning. BTC is the new USDT then? That's the goal. That's the end game. BitBoy. You know, hype carries coins. Okay, guys, I gotta wrap it up. I'm always late to the virtual classroom by like 5 minutes, and it's because I want to get through all the comments and share, you know, as much information with you guys as possible. Yeah, that index, don't worry about that index, man. Don't worry about the alt season index. You know, a lot of these indicators, they're subjective. You know, yeah, sentiment is a very good measure of altcoins. You probably haven't seen an altcoin season yet. Anyways, that is all the time I have for today. If you enjoyed this content, please leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And if there are any projects that you would like me to do some videos on, leave them in the comments section down below. And if you're following on Twitch, don't forget to leave me a follow. And until next time, please trade safe. It's a jungle out there. Peace.